DepEd Order Number 40, Series of 2012, Policy and Guidelines on Protecting Children in School from Abuse, Violence, Exploitation, Discrimination, Bullying, and other forms of abuse. DepEd Order Number 40, Series of 2012, also known as the DepEd Child Protection Policy, Sections 4 to 8, Duties and Responsibilities of the following: Central Office, Regional Offices, Division Offices, Schools, and School Personnel. Section 4. Here are the duties and responsibilities of the Central Office. Letter A. Develop a policy and guidelines for the prevention of violence against children in schools and make this available to all schools. Letter B. Conduct a nationwide information dissemination and campaign on violence prevention programs for children and research-based best practices for teachers. Letter Z. Devise programs, campaigns, and activities through the offices of the Undersecretary for Programs and Regional Operations to raise consciousness, mobilize and educate students, parents, teachers, community, local government units, and other stakeholders. Letter D. Formulate a system of standard reporting, prescribe standards and procedures for monitoring and evaluation, and maintain the Central Repository of Regional Reports, or Annex A, on incidents and cases of child abuse, exploitation, violence, discrimination, bullying, and other acts of abuse through the Office of the Undersecretary for Legal and Legislative Affairs. Letter E. The Secretary shall exercise disciplinary jurisdiction, where appropriate, pursuant to the revised rules of procedures of the Department of Education in administrative cases and other existing laws, rules, and regulations. Section 5. Here are the duties and responsibilities of the regional offices. Letter A. Encourage and support advocacy campaigns and capability-building activities on the prevention of child abuse, violence, exploitation, discrimination, bullying, and other forms of abuse, promotion of positive and nonviolent discipline, conflict resolution, and peer mediation. Letter B. Consolidate reports on incidents and cases of the division offices with the region and submit a regional report or Annex A to the Undersecretary for Legal and Legislative Affairs. Letter Z. Monitor and evaluate the implementation and enforcement of this department order by the school's division offices and such other related laws and regulations relative to abuse, exploitation, violence, and discrimination of children. Letter D. Exercise disciplinary jurisdiction, where appropriate pursuant to the revised rules of procedure of the Department of Education in administrative cases and other existing laws, rules, and regulations. Letter E. Give recommendations to the Central Office on the policies, programs, and services to address and prevent cases of child abuse, exploitation, violence, and discrimination, bullying, and other acts of abuses consistent with this department order. Section 6. Here are the duties and responsibilities of the division offices. Letter A. Conduct the information dissemination activities and in-service training for teachers on the protection of children in school from abuse, violence, exploitation, discrimination, bullying, or peer abuse and other related cases. Letter B. Undertake advocacy campaigns and capability building activities just like positive discipline, procedures and guidelines, conflict resolution, as well as peer mediation. Letter C. Organize and conduct the capacity building activities for members of the Child Protection Committee and guidance counselors or teachers. Letter D. Develop strategies to address the risk factors that contribute to the commission of acts of abuse, violence, exploitation, discrimination, and bullying. Letter E. Consolidate the reports on incidents and cases of all schools and submit a division report or Annex A to the regional office. Letter F. Monitor and evaluate the implementation and enforcement by public and private schools of this department order and such other related laws and regulations relative to abuse, exploitation, violence, and discrimination of children. Letter G. Exercise disciplinary jurisdiction where appropriate pursuant to the revised rules of procedure of the Department of Education in administrative cases and other existing laws, rules, and regulations. Letter H. Give recommendations to the regional office and devise measures to address and prohibit abuse, exploitation, violence and discrimination and bullying or peer abuse of children consistent with this department order. Letter I. Utilize resources. Coordinate with appropriate offices and other agency or instrumentality for such assistance as it may require in the performance of its functions. Letter J. Encourage and support activities and campaigns initiated by stakeholders. Letter K. Perform such other functions as may be assigned by the Secretary or the Regional Director. Section 7. Here are the duties and responsibilities of the school. Letter A. Ensure the institution of effective child protection policies and procedures and monitor compliance thereof. Letter B. Ensure that the school adopts a child protection policy. Letter C. Ensure that all pupils, students or learners, school personnel, parents, guardians or custodians, and visitors and guests are made aware of Child Protection Policy or Annex C. Letter D. Organize and convene the Child Protection Committee for the school. Letter E. Conduct the capacity building activities for the members of the Child Protection Committee and guidance counselors or teachers. Letter F. Conduct disciplinary proceedings in cases of offenses committed by pupils, students, or learners. Letter G. Ensure that the participatory and other rights of children are respected and upheld in all matters and procedures affecting their welfare. Letter H. Maintain a record of all proceedings related to bullying or peer abuse and submit after each school year to the division office the report and a copy of the intake form, annexes A and B respectively. Letter I. Conduct the appropriate training and capability building activities on child protection measures and protocols. Letter J. Ensure that the school adopts a student code of conduct to be followed by every pupil, student, or learner while on the school or grounds, or when traveling to and from school, or during a school-sponsored activity and during lunch period, whether on or off campus. Letter K. Adopt such conflict resolution mechanisms that respect the rights of indigenous peoples, provided that they are conform to this department order and they uphold the rights of the child. Letter L. Coordinate with the appropriate offices and other agency or instrumentality for appropriate assistance and intervention as may be required in the performance of its functions. Letter M. Coordinate with the Department of Social Welfare and Development or the appropriate government agencies or non-governmental organizations on a child protection hotline for reporting of abuse, violence, exploitation, discrimination, bullying, and other similar acts and for counseling. Letter N. Ensure that all incidents of abuse, violence, exploitation, discrimination, bullying, and other similar acts are addressed in accordance with the provisions of this department order. Section 8. Here are the duties and responsibilities of the school personnel. Letter A. Exercise special parental authority and responsibility over the child while under their supervision, instruction, and custody. Authority and responsibility shall apply to all authorized activities, whether inside or outside the premises of the school, entity, or institution. Letter B. Keep them in their company and support. Educate and instruct them by right precept and good example. Letter C. Give them love and affection, advice and counsel, companionship and understanding. Letter D. Enhance, protect, preserve, and maintain their physical and mental health at all times. Letter E. Furnish them with good and wholesome educational materials. Supervise their activities, recreation, and association with others. Protect them from bad company and prevent them from acquiring habits detrimental to their health, studies, and morals. Letter F. Represent them in all matters affecting their interests. Letter G. Inculcate the value of respect and obedience. Letter H. Practice positive and non-violent disciple as may be required under the circumstances, provided that in no case shall corporal punishment be inflicted upon them. Letter I. Perform such other duties as are imposed by law upon them, as substitute parents or guardians. And letter J. School personnel shall also strictly comply with the school's child protection policy.